Welcome to Be Well with Dr. Michelle Greenwell. We are here exploring the power of intention, energy, and action in cultivating wellness and living with purpose. And I'm your host, Dr. Michelle, and today we are opening the door to something very special. It's a new initiative, a movement, and a mission from the heart. It's called the Magnifying Peace Project. Together with my dear friend and collaborator, Marian Egan, coming to us from Ireland. She's an intuitive artist, frequency guide, and founder of Heart Art Magic. And we're inviting you into this conversation as a commitment that you can make with us to choose peace, to radiate peace, and to embody peace. We live in a time when fear and anxiety and overwhelm are front and center. And many of us are trying to de-stress and find clarity, but we're doing that with missing an inner anchor, a sense of peace within. And it becomes difficult to create lasting wellness or genuine connection. The Magnifying Peace Project is our answer to that call. It's a platform, a creative space, a communal intention to shine a light on how we can cultivate peace. This is not just for ourselves, but for our relationships, our communities, and our planet. Before we dive in, I'd love to introduce the featured tea for today's episode. This is the Autograph. This is part of Natalie McMaster's signature collection from the Cape Breton Tea Company. And with the heart-opening essence of the rose and the refreshing clarity of peppermint, which are two of the ingredients in this blend, it inspires love, compassion, and a profound sense of belonging. The intention on the label invites us to reflect. What special gift do we have that we can share with others so that their gifts can shine even brighter? Because when we share our gifts, we are empowering others to do the same. This is where peace begins. So, Marian, I'm going to invite you today to the conversation. I'm going to share the tea that I've got here and this beautiful pink color for those of you that are listening to the podcast. And cheers. Thanks for launching this project.
Cheers.
What do you have in your cup today, Marian?
Today I have the Cape Breton Highland Splendor. And what I love about it is the affirmation on it. It says, "From the top of the mountain, we are inspired." And, the inspiration comes from within. My mission is to inspire healthy living around the world, but it starts with me. That's where it starts. And it's like the ripple effect then that I can have with other people by my thoughts, my intentions, and my actions. And that's what I love about what I do.
That's beautiful. And as we think about peace being that top of the mountain, if you're coming from peace, what do you see in front of you? That's a lot different than the view of from the top of fear. What do you see around you?
Yeah. And it's amazing what, the amount of fear that's happening around the world right now. Isn't it wonderful? Like, we're starting a spark, an ignition today. And we're igniting that peace by magnifying peace around the world. And just a little action, a kindness of some kind is all we're asking for people to take note of and become part of. Just what kind of action? It could be just smiling at somebody as you pass them in the street. It can be that simple.
Mm-hmm. Now, before we started recording the podcast today, you always draw from your card decks several cards to set your day and set your intention. Would you like to share with the audience now the card that you pulled for this project? And this is how you were ready to start your day, but you also knew we were going to be recording the podcast.
I did. So what I do is I set my intention, I write it out. I'm on this card that I pulled today for myself is card number 4,737. I'm coming up to my 5,000 card that I've pulled for myself, and I've written every one of them down in my notebook. This is notebook number 7. And let me share with you what the card was. And I was blown away by what came up.
So for
And
those
what,
people listening on the podcast, Marian is actually pulling up um, part of the images for the card deck. So we'll describe to you what she's presenting as you're listening.
okay, so the card number 12 is called Impact, and the frequency number is 441 444 333. And in it is a gentleman just standing out from the crowd because of the impact that he looks as if he is making. But I was blown away, Michelle, and even though I've created the cards with my collaborative partner, Beverly Zymet, I was just blown away because it says, making an impact begins with purpose and action. Lead with your why. People will follow if you inspire them. Impact is measured by how many lives you touch. Show up every day with energy, discipline, and intention. There is no perfect moment, just take action. The world needs leaders, not followers. Build a movement and a community. Great movements start with one person who refuses to stay silent. Serve with excellence. Give more than you take. Your impact is not measured by what you achieve. It's the transformation you create in others. Your voice, your story, and your mission matter. The most successful people are those who give without expectation. Value multiplies when shared. To change lives and leave an impact, embrace your voice and share your gifts unconditionally. Be authentic and humble. Standing in your power leads to igniting change in others. Your legacy isn't built in a moment. It's built in the lives you touch every day. Keep pushing forward. The world is waiting for your impact. When I read that, I was just blown away. I mean, this is all done intuitively, Michelle. It's something, as I say, I do every day for myself. It's been life-changing for me and for those that I have shared this with around the world.
So let's share what that frequency number means. So for those people who are listening, can't see the graphic, we're going to say the number again. And Marian, what do you do with the number?
So what I do with the number is I install the frequency number into my body. And how I do that and why I do that, I'll share why I do it first. When we are in a stressful situation, or we're in a situation where we don't know what to do, we don't know where to turn, we're looking for guidance, we may be in physical pain, we may be fully stressed, overwhelmed, and anxiety in our body. When you install the frequency interrupts the stress, the physical pain, whatever it is, it interrupts that and stops that circuit running. And what that does then, it shuts off the cortisol hormone, and then the endorphins, the serotonin, and the oxytocin, and all the healing hormones start to come into the body, and it just calms and relaxes. When I did this, I've been doing this weekly healing every week now, and the results are just phenomenal. Like from last week was a business lady with stress and anxiety. She was going into a very important executive meeting, and her stress levels were 9 out of 10, and I brought it right down to 0 when she installed the frequency. Another lady had physical pain. That physical pain just was totally relieved. So this is how it works. Now, how you install the frequency is you tap the frequency number into your body. And I'm going to tap on the sternum, just on the chest bone. And the number is 441 444 333. And as I'm saying the number, I'm tapping my chest bone, 441 444 333. And you do that about 7 or 10 times. And you'll find that whatever is upsetting your system starts to calm it down.
Wow.
So that's the why and the how.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Thank you.
And let's dive into our conversation for today. So now we have a tea with intention, we have our card about intention, and then we have the project that we're launching. So, with this, what do we hope to achieve with this project? And how can other people be involved? Do you want to share that?
Well, what I hope to achieve is like when you and I started a conversation, and this is where it led. It led to this, right? And it's like paying it forward. What can we do? What act of kindness can we start? What sort of a movement can we start to help other people to feel better within themselves? But it starts with me. For me to feel better within myself, that's why I do my cards every day on myself, by myself, for myself. But then I share it with other people. And, it can just be a simple smile. Invite someone to have a cup of coffee with you, or sometimes even I find my daughter will come along in the morning and she'll drop in to see myself and her dad, and she'll bring a cup of coffee that she has bought locally, just something like that, so that we sit and we talk and we chat. So it can be that if you're buying a coffee for yourself, you might like to pay for the person who's standing behind you and just say, you can take it out of my money, whatever, and that kind of act of kindness. It's amazing what can be done. We don't even think about what can be done. So these are just little suggestions. I was just thinking many, many years ago when I lived in Dublin. This is way before I moved out to the country here. But there was a young man who his job was packing the groceries in the supermarket, and that was his job, was to help customers, and he'd pack their groceries. But this young man would go home in the evening time, and he would write out little hand notes and to his customers. And every time he packed up a customer's bags, he would put his handwritten note in their bag. So when they got home, and they didn't realize that until they got home and they found this note, and eventually that word got back to the supermarket manager, who had to, really congratulate this young man because he was only a teenager. And this is what his act of kindness was. Nobody told him to do that. That was just something he took upon himself. So, what sort of acts of kindness can we take upon ourselves that will help somebody else to feel good about who they are and kind of give them a boost and an uplift? There's so many ways we can do that. What's your take?
Hmm. And that I think that one of the biggest lessons I got from Tai Chi, I do Master Moy's Tai Chi set, and his philosophy was that you needed to be teaching from the heart. And so you can't have monetary gain by teaching from the heart. And that's been a hard lesson through very difficult times and financial crisis and losing businesses, to continue to teach from the heart while not being able to afford the gas money to be able to get to the place where I might be teaching.
Mhm.
However, I maintained that. And in that process, for every act that I have offered of being an instructor for Tai Chi, it's always gifted me back. Every class that I teach, it's not what I impart to the students, it's what they impart back to me. And it's that exchange from the heart that is so important. And it also means when I leave to go somewhere and the class has to take care of itself, they all step forward because they all know they have a part in what's happening, and the collective unit of the group is so important. And
Mm.
that's how peace starts. It starts from that heart-centered action.
Mm. Absolutely. And if you think about the heart, Michelle, okay, you've got, I know there's four chambers in the heart, but you've got two sides of the heart, right? So it's starting now with the two of us. So what we'd like to do is let the tendrils go out to those who are listening and watching and seeing, what act of kindness can you do? And let's start this impactful magnifying peace around the world scenario.
Mm-hmm. And as people are listening to the news, I really tried to listen as little as possible. because I find that it impacts my thinking and impacts my action. And so if I can stay focused on being centered and on reaching out from the heart, I find I'm more impactful. But in listening to the news and in exchanging in conversations with people, if we take the time to think about how do we keep peace, and from the Highland Splendor affirmation, we're looking from the top of the mountain at the start of our day. In what way are our actions for the day going to be impactful to all those around us? And from the top of that mountain, there's a lot of people that we're going to influence in the day. And if we can change the way people are thinking about hearing the news, it's the news job to be able to send that fear out, right? Is to say, wake up, people. Here's the crisis here, and here's the crisis there, etc. This is the news. But our job is not to rise to the crisis. Our job is to be impactful back to the crisis. In what way can we influence and change the trajectory for all those people who may be suffering in some really hard situations? And can we hold the space for them so they have the energy and they have the will to be able to step out of their challenges and to
Yeah.
succeed?
Mm. It's so, it's so horrifying when I just cannot watch the news. I mean, when it comes on, I just leave the room because I'm heartbroken by what some people can do to other people. So the opposite is what I want to project and make that impact is what can we do to offset, as you say. But it starts with us and within us. So it's me being peaceful within myself and feeling happy and content within myself. And that ripple effect will resonate and go out like the stone in the pond effect, starts with my heart center and let it ripple out and yours. And together we make this happen. So I just want people to join in and see what they can do to keep the ripple effect going.
Yes. I'm just thinking about one of my Tai Chi members who we lost a couple years ago. And when they did the autopsy, because she died suddenly, she was healthy to us, she looked healthy, but she had a regular practice every day. She was very centered and grounded. And Tai Chi was at the forefront of that in the later years. She did a lot of walking and cycling as well, but every day she started with an hour of Tai Chi and some meditation. And when they did the autopsy, they discovered that she'd actually had a challenge within the heart that nobody had detected. And so her whole life, she had just gone on, but what she had chosen was the way she was going to live and how she was going to make longevity and health a priority. And Tai Chi being at the forefront of that, because of this heart defect that was there, Tai Chi actually helps the heart to work less. And so she actually was gifting herself every day this opportunity. But what happened was after she passed, we decided to put in a challenge, and we called it Donna's Challenge. And it was to bring Tai Chi to the forefront for the start of the day. And we were so impacted by the influence of that within 4 months, we were all doing Tai Chi at the start of the day and at the end of the day because we knew how much it meant.
Mm.
And that ripple effect went much further than our group, which was also really interesting. So as you and I start this project, and our vision with it is in 4 months' time, we're going to be launching one video a week around the idea of peace and ways in which we're engaging with peace. We're hoping that in 4 months' time, that ripple will become a habit, and that habit will become an influence further that will actually be creating quite a ripple for people to be able to be a part of.
So we're building a tidal wave then, Michelle.
Waves lapping up on the shore. For those people that are going to see my first video, that's what you're going to see. Waves lapping up on the shore, gentle and calm.
Beautiful. That's that's the way we want to have it, is gentleness and calmness and kindness. And that's the ripple that we're starting today. And as you say, let's see where it takes us and let it magnify around the world.
So now that I've introduced the idea that we're going to be doing a video once a week, we're going to release on Wednesdays. We thought Wednesday was a good day for people to, Monday you kind of dive into your week, but Wednesday's kind of that getting ready for the weekend, but still involved in work. And sometimes that's a hard day to kind of get through. So we thought Wednesday was a good day to be able to launch that. And both of our YouTube channels will be where we'll be launching those videos from. And you'll be leading with the first one. You want to talk about what your first piece is?
Yeah, well, after our conversation, when when this kind of came together, and it was purely out of a conversation that we had, um, I started, well, I paint from the heart. It's heart art and it's magic, which is my acronym for my ability to go into my center. And that's where the magic is. So I did a video, and out of that came the world peace video. And then we came up with the logo as well, So um, that's what we're going to start with, that video. And I speed it up, so it's not like looking at paint dry. It's only about two or 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes anyway. But the message is there, so we'll start with that, and we'll release that first, and then, as you say, we will release on a Wednesday.
Yeah. And then we have different ideas that we want to share each week to inspire people to think about some of the gifts they have in their own lives, in which they can use to be, as you said, magic, bringing
Yeah.
it center and focus. And then to be able to see how engaging in their activity, it's going to ripple out to others. And it can be the gestures like you described, with sending a note, opening a door, taking a coffee, maybe
Mhm.
making tea. I make tea every day that I teach Tai Chi and take an urn in with me. And we enjoy a cup of tea before we start and connect, and the conversation that gets started. And it's building community before we all start to do movement together. And it just feels so lovely and connecting. So those actions are what we hope to inspire.
Yeah, and here's another thought that just has dropped in. Um, when somebody comes to mind, it's amazing, and this still amazes me. When somebody comes to mind, just send them a text or pick up the phone and ring them. I was thinking of this lady, and I haven't seen her for many, many years. I don't know how many years it is now. And then she just contacts me to see if we could meet up. You know, that's the collective consciousness and connection, and that magnifies. So when you get a thought like that, when something drops into your head and you think of someone, that's it. That means that you need to connect in some way with them for some reason. And whatever the reason is, it might just be to say hello, and that's all it is, or send a text and say, thinking of you, I hope all is well. That's enough to just make that connection and then see where that goes. That's another ripple effect.
Hmm. Hmm. And sometimes we just get busy and it's like the thought came, then it disappeared, and then it arrives again,
Yeah.
usually. And it's like, no, you need to take action. You need to move forward with this. Mhm.
Yeah. So listen to your thoughts. They are your, what's that antenna? That's the antenna and the messages coming in. But that's where my cards came from. Was my antenna went off and I got the inspiration to create my cards. And look what's happened when I did.
Mhm.
I was
And
inspired for two people, two very ill people, is now magnifying around the world as well.
yeah. And for those people that want to know more about Marian's story, you can go back into the Be Well with Dr. Michelle Greenwell podcasts, several seasons actually, that Marian and I have been having conversations. So she describes how she started the card deck. And in just this season alone, this is our third conversation. That's how impactful, when we get together, um, how meaningful it's been, because each conversation we have had has led to a reason for us to record another podcast. And just this week was released about self-respect. And this is a part of peace and peace conversations. So I invite people to go back, check out the other podcasts, and hear more about the stories. And that's going to give you a way to think about how you might want to take action and in what way our stories might be supportive for inspiring something new for you.
Wonderful.
So let's dive into how people can engage with our project. You want to share a little bit there?
So as you were saying, it would be ideal for when we launch the video in YouTube, that to comment on the video and then maybe come back and say, this is what I've done today, and I didn't realize the impact it was going to have. Or you may not see the wins or the results, but you will definitely make an impact just by doing something of kindness for somebody else. So it would be lovely to come in and in YouTube just make a comment and say, I sent a note to someone, or said hello to someone, or as you say, open a door for someone, just doing something that makes a difference. That's
And my YouTube channel is at Michelle Greenwell, and there is a playlist that is designated for this project. So Magnifying Peace Project. You just have to look that up. And your YouTube channel?
is Marian Egan, Transformation Health.
All right. So we invite you to check out both channels. We will be releasing on both, but check out both channels because there are a lot of resources there that may be helpful to you and also spark some new ideas of other things you want to be engaged in. And if you would subscribe to our channels, that would be great because then you'll get the next download coming straight to you. And then you don't have to go looking for it. It'll be arriving for you.
And I would love to hear what other people's, like some of the suggestions we've made, but I'm sure there's people out there saying, oh, I know what I'm going to do. We'd love to hear what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, because we will take that action as well. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Sure.
that would be beautiful.
Sure.
All right, this is the heart of it. This is what we need, especially in the face of war, fear, conflict, and division. We need to find comfort. We need to go to that peace within. And if we stop seeing peace as a distant, lofty concept and instead recognize it as a daily choice, it's a moment-by-moment opportunity. Marian, thank you so much for being on the show again and helping to spark such an incredible project and a way for you and I to continue to reach forward for people.
Absolutely. And it all comes from here. And thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it. And everybody who's listening and watching. And just join in this movement. It's because it is going to move. It'll be so moving, but let's do it together.
I'm just going to go back to the tea reflection as we finish up here. So today we highlighted the autograph, where we're reminded of how peppermint opens and clarifies the mind, supporting the breath and the heart, while rose softens, strengthens our emotional body, offers love where fear may have taken hold. And this tea isn't just a beverage, it's an invitation to pause, to remember who we are, and to realize that we all carry a gift for peace. And now is the time to share it. And I'm just going to bring forward Highland Splendor because it is also one of my favorites. And the affirmation there, Marian?
The affirmation is, from the top of the mountain, we are inspired. Do you want me to read out any of the ingredients?
Oh, I know them off by heart. I know that rose is also in there. And I also know that we have creamed Earl Grey. And that is a very powerful tea.
And it's interesting that you mentioned peppermint. I've already used essential oil peppermint this morning for myself. So it's amazing the synergy that comes when you start looking into it. So that's a lovely tea. Thank you.
To everyone listening, we invite you to become a part of this movement, whether through intention, art, words, movement. Maybe you develop a dance, maybe you make a poem, maybe you take some photographs and you share it with others. Maybe you make a cup of tea and invite someone to sit down with you. you can magnify peace from the inside out. Starting today, sit with your cup and ask yourself, what would peace feel like for me right now? What would it look like in my actions, my thoughts, and my voice? And how can I share that with others gently, powerfully, and consistently? You can learn more about the Magnifying Peace Project, join our weekly prompts, connect with Marian and me through marianegan.ie or thegreenwellcenter.com, and on social media, including our YouTube channels. And if this conversation stirred something in you, please share this episode. Subscribe and leave a review. Together, let's keep the ripples of peace expanding. And until next time, be well and be in peace.
Thank you.